What's up, guys? Welcome back. You are just in time for today's video. We are talking about week 8 waiver wire. Let's jump right into it. Let's not waste no time. You know how we do. At the quarterback streamers this week, I want to talk about Russell Wilson. In his first start of the season, he probably couldn't have played against a better defense in the New York Jets. He looked decent. I'm not gonna say he looked great, and I'm not gonna say he looked outstanding. He obviously can improve on things. He did knock some rust off, but he looked very good. He had 2 touchdowns. He has the weapons to do so. You have a really good running back. You have good receivers. You have a good tight end. He has an offense that is put together that can help him succeed, just like with Justin Fields. And guess who he's playing this week? The Giants. So if you are the Justin Fields owner, or if you are, someone who's on a bye this week, you can pick up Russell Wilson and play him with confidence. My number 2 streamer, Bo Nix. Yes, rookie Bo Nix. He's quietly putting together a decent fantasy season, and a lot of it has to do with his rushing upside. He's giving you anywhere between 30 and 40 rushing yards a game on average, which is giving him a good baseline. He's not, slinging the ball and throwing it for 3 or 4 touchdowns a week. But again, he has a good baseline as a streaming option. You want someone with a high ceiling. You don't want someone who's going to go out and give you, 5 to 10 points and just kill you in the week. And this week, he's playing the Panthers. And last but not least, let's talk about Sam Darnold. A lot of people dropped him because he was on bye. So take a little peek on your waivers and see if he's available. You can pick him up and add him right into your lineup. And not just as a streaming option this week, but if you look at his schedule, his next 3 or 4 games are pretty juicy. He has Jordan Addison back. He has Justin Jefferson. He's going to get TJ Hawkinson back, if not this week, probably next week. Sam Darnold is set up to succeed. And he's playing the Rams on Thursday Night Football. So pick up Sam Darnold, plug him right into your lineup. There weren't really many injuries this week, which is good, obviously, for real life football. And it's good for fantasy football. You hate to lose your studs, but at the same time, there's not a lot of high-end running back talent on the waiver wire. This is the week that you want to simply just pick up handcuffs, get ready for the next few games in case any injuries, so you don't have to blow all your fab on or your number 1 waiver priority. Look up guys like Blake Corum, who again many people probably dropped because he wasn't the running back 2. He lost that job to Ronnie Rivers for all of 2 games. He's back, but we know that if Kyron goes down, Blake Corum is that number 1 running back in that offense. And speaking of clear-cut handcuff running backs, go with Emmanuel Wilson and the Green Bay Packers. If Josh Jacobs happens to go down, Emmanuel Wilson is the obvious number 2 option. I understand Marshawn Lewis is going to be coming back soon, but it doesn't really matter at this point. If you're talking about a running back in a top 5 offense, if Josh Jacobs goes down, that's Emmanuel Wilson. And last but not least, make sure you pick up Jeremy McNichols. Brian Robinson has already missed a couple of games with injury, and understand that if he goes down, obviously you're going to look at Austin Eckler as the RB2, but that's false. Jeremy McNichols is going to play the Brian Robinson role if he goes down. Austin Eckler is still going to have his role as a scat back and as a 1B to a 1A. But Chris McNichols, again, pick him up before it's too late. At the wide receiver position, this is probably where you're going to want to spend most of your money at. And my top waiver wire ad, and this week, I'm going to say Ricky Pearsall. Deebo Samuel went to the hospital, missed pretty much all of the game. They saying it's pneumonia week to week at this point. He might miss next week. He might miss the week after that. So he could miss some time, obviously. Brandon Ayuk is out for the season. He tore his ACL. Juwan Jennings missed this week with a hip issue. So they're banged up at the position. Ricky Pearsall is fresh. He hasn't played all season, and he definitely has a connection with Brock Purdy. We've seen that in the training camp. They traded up to draft this guy. They know that he fits his offense, and he's going to get a lot of volume because a lot of targets are up for grabs in this 49er offense. Another wide receiver you need to look at is Troy Franklin of the Denver Broncos. Yes, again, I understand that Bo Nix is not the most prolific passer. He is slowly, quietly building up a connection with Troy Franklin. And let's not forget, Courtland Sutton is on the trade block. Very possible that he gets traded and Troy Franklin becomes that wide receiver 1 for the rest of the season. And speaking of new wide receiver 1s, in Cleveland, you might think it's Jerry Jeudy, but it's actually Cedric Tillman. And obviously, Deshaun Watson is out. So if Deshaun Watson was going to be playing, obviously I would say Jerry Jeudy, but he's pretty much out the rest of the year. So it's either going to be Jameis Winston or Dorian Thompson. And we've seen with Dorian Thompson what receiver he locks onto is Cedric Tillman. At the tight end position, it's never really fun to talk about, but again, we have to talk about these guys. Let's talk about Jonnu Smith. He is slowly becoming an integral part to this Miami offense. Tua Tagovailoa is coming back, so the passing offense is going to get a lot better. But Jonnu Smith should be able to get you anywhere between 5 to 7 catches on a week-to-week basis. Now let's talk about a rookie tight end and a terrible offense. Yes, I know it doesn't sound like he has upside, but this tight end definitely does. Jatavion Sanders from the Carolina Panthers. Deontay Johnson might get traded, which is going to lead Xavier Legette as the wide receiver 1, but it also leaves about 10 targets a game open. Even if he doesn't get traded, it doesn't really matter because Deontay Johnson hasn't got traded yet, and in the last 2 weeks, Sanders has 6 catches for 61 yards this past week, and last week He had 5 catches for 50 yards, constantly behind or constantly having to pass the ball, and he's slowly becoming a strong option in this offense. And last but not least, Noah Fant. The last few weeks, he's had a couple of good games, and he's starting to become a heavy part of the passing offense. DK Metcalf is also injured, and he's considered week to week. If he happens to miss any time, Noah Fant not only goes to a top 3 target in this offense, but probably one of the top targets in this offense. Now let's talk about the stash of the week. Just like last week, I'm going to say Kamani Vidal. Gus Edwards is on IR and is going to miss multiple weeks. J.K. Dobbins is the dominant running back in this offense and is giving workhorse volume. But again, we've seen with his history that he's probably going to get injured at some point, and when he does, Kamani Vidal is going to be the RB1 in that offense. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week.